Former UFC middleweight king Anderson the Spider Silva has called out Dana White recently over his treatment towards the end of his UFC stint, claiming that he was told he couldn't fight anymore. But White, never one to take things lying down, has since fired back at Silva, shooting down the UFC great's claims. Today, we're discussing the emerging beef plus other little UFC bits and pieces, so don't go anywhere. First up, what did Silva say? Well, his comments will have come as little surprise to MMA fans, as White is no stranger to criticism from former fighters. But as one of the all-time greats, Silva's comments could potentially hold more weight than most. The Brazilian has recently been speaking about his final days fighting for the organization, for whom he last fought in October of 2020, losing via TKO to Uriah Hall, and his claims will have done nothing to paint White in a favorable light. After he said, "When I was done in UFC, everybody, especially Dana White, said, 'Oh, Anderson can't fight anymore.' At the top of his last fight, he was 45 years old, so it probably won't come as a surprise to many that White and the UFC hierarchy thought his career was coming to an end." But he continues by explaining that he felt disrespected because White had claimed that nobody in Anderson's age group could fight anymore. He revealed that at the time, he was the only one who was going to decide when he would hang up his gloves. But Silva's comments will worry others, as he also claimed that the UFC can try to force a fighter out and ruin their career, claiming that they don't respect the legacy that fighters have. He did, however, admit that he had a good time in the UFC, but also some bad times, saying, "The bad time for me is the experience I have behind the scenes," which is a shame. So how did White respond? Let's see. Well, as you might imagine, White was in a bullish mood when responding to Silva's claims, saying that he wasn't sure what to make of them. Silva is, of course, regarded as one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, and there was a period of time where he was legitimately one of the scariest men on the planet. But unfortunately, his star began to fade as time caught up with him. But he still registered 10 title defenses in one of the toughest divisions in the promotion. The Spider was released back in 2020, but seems to have taken it badly. However, others have backed him by saying he wasn't given a proper send-off, after claiming that the UFC didn't particularly care about their older stars. White responded by asking what Silva was talking about. He then said, "When have any of you ever heard me talk negative, except for the fight in Abu Dhabi about Anderson Silva? Never. I've never talked bad about Anderson Silva. Not only that, we let the guy fight through his contract. He lost 7 of his last 8, or 8 of his last 9 fights, and always treated him with, I don't know where the hell he's coming from. From him that then I started trying to make it so he couldn't make money after. I said, Jake Paul is looking to fight somebody. Fight Anderson Silva. That guy's out there. He's available. He's 47 years old. It's baffling to me. What do you guys make of this?" Next up, news of Silva's last fight, as well as a boxing GOAT. Stay tuned. Silva took part in an exhibition non-scored bout over the weekend, on the same card as many people's boxing GOAT, Floyd Mayweather. The pair was taking part in a show at the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, and Silva, who was up against fellow Brazilian Bruno Machado, even scored an impressive knockdown. And a 47-year-old Silva is still a handful in the boxing ring, and as well as Mayweather, dominated his bout. Machado was knocked down in the 5th round, but he would have been well behind the scorecards if it actually were being scored, and Mayweather's bout followed along the same lines. And of course, Mayweather only takes part in exhibition-style bouts these days, after dominating all corners throughout his boxing career. And he spoke of his future plans after last weekend's fight, saying, "I told the fans I'm here to entertain, have fun. I will bring another fight here this year." Absolutely. It's a secret. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag right now, but we have an opponent. Seems as though you just did, Floyd. There has been talk of Anderson going up against Jake Paul in recent months. But of course, Jake Paul, being the savvy businessman he is, doesn't want to go up against people who can actually box, so don't expect this one to ever get the green light. And a UFC fighter has also weighed in on potential Paul versus Silva bout. Stay with us. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has recently given word of warning to Jake Paul, who claims that Paul doesn't want any of the smoke Silva would bring. Thompson, who urged Paul to avoid a bout with the legendary Brazilian, has warned him that Tyron Woodley is not Anderson Silva. Van Askren is not Anderson Silva. I don't think Jake Paul would do that. I don't think so. I think Anderson Silva's got the finesse to beat him. And of course, the idea that Paul would sign up to fight a man who is actually a similar size to him is probably a little silly. He picks his fights carefully and has a certain MO, which usually sees him up against far smaller fighters who don't have a background in boxing. And Thompson, who fought Tyron Woodley in 2 UFC welterweight title fights, claimed that he would actually pay money to see that fight, suggested that Jake would fall and Anderson win. He went on to say, "Give him the shot. I think Jake Paul is going to have to jump off that ledge and fight a legitimate boxer, and why not do it against Anderson Silva?" And Thompson isn't the only one suggested Paul should fight Silva, with former middleweight champion Michael Bisping, who himself holds a win over Silva, suggesting the YouTuber should fight the Brazilian. Who do you guys have if this one ever goes down? Let us know below. Next up, Khabib has revealed some unfinished business with Dana White. Of course, Nurmagomedov is one of the most dominant UFC champions in history, and as such, White has tried to bring him back into the fold on more than one occasion. But thanks to a promise he has made to his mom, that seems unlikely. And the legendary Russian has recently revealed he has a piece of unfinished business with White. The Islam Makhachev situation. Khabib's training partner has been angling for a crack at the lightweight title for some time now, and Khabib has recently revealed that White has blanked one of his texts about the subject, the first time he has failed to reply to the Russian. Khabib has jumped on the bandwagon for his protege to face off against Charles Oliveira, but it is thought that White wants his golden goose, Conor McGregor, to get the next crack. And Khabib jokingly revealed that it was the first time White has failed to respond, saying, "I sent a similar message, but he doesn't respond. I think he was busy, maybe, this first time, and it's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. He's gonna come back stronger. And he went on to say he didn't want to put pressure on Dana, but if he doesn't get a call, he will want to know his location, which of course is a reference to his Conor McGregor beef. He finished by saying, "Be careful, Dana. We have to finish our business, brother. Call me back. Do you see Islam getting a shot soon?" And finally, Tony Ferguson has brought up another White issue. Ferguson, who brought the house down during the pre-fight press conference ahead of his recent bout with Michael Chandler by claiming his opponent has Dana White privilege, has again gone in on the boss, claiming that he has, in the past, made him feel like crap, not in those words. Ferguson was flatlined by Chandler at UFC 274, which was actually the first time he had ever been knocked out in the sport, which is a rarity given his age. And appearing on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour last week, Ferguson claimed that he had wanted to move up to the welterweight for some time, but White had discouraged him from doing so. He said, "For a long time, Dana made him feel like crap for going up a weight, but he made me feel like that for a long time, and when you have people making you feel like that, essentially you start to almost believe it." He went on to say that he was going to start doing things his own way because he wants to be happy from now on. And fair enough, life is too short to be unhappy in your job. Who do you see Tony fighting next? As usual, and remember to stop by again next time for some more fun reveals. And why not do us a favor by liking and sharing today's video, as well as subscribing to our channel so you don't miss out on any more great content in the future. Bye guys!